Well, we are in week 2 of Be Rich today, and so this is Serve Week, and we're gonna do something a little bit different today. Our team got together, and as we talked about it, we said, you know what? People don't need a 30-minute talk to be motivated to serve. I mean, most of us, we get it. Like, we need to step up. We need to serve in a number of different ways, whether we're serving our kids' school, our kids' sports team, and we know there's needs in the community of some sort, and we want to serve. Oftentimes, we just don't know how to serve. And that's one of the most amazing things about Be Rich is these organizations that we partner with are doing such incredible things, and they actually open up opportunities for you and for me to come alongside them and get to serve and make a really big impact in this community. So what we wanted to do today was give you an opportunity to meet some of the incredible people behind these organizations. And I would love to have a representative from all 15 organizations up here today, but then we'd be here all day, and who knows what would happen after that. So we are gonna highlight 3 organizations here in the auditorium today, and then again, at the end of our time, many more of the organizations will be over in the theater for you to meet as well. So I wanna invite 3 of our dear, dear friends up to the stage right now. Can we give a big Brownsbridge welcome to Jacob from the Place at Forsyth, Tina from Family Promise, and Dr. Jeff Bearden. Good morning, good morning. Dr. Jeff Bearden, Superintendent of Forsyth County Schools. You guys can have a seat. Thank you so much for being willing to be up here today and to get to share a little bit with us, just taking a little time out of your Sunday. And also thank you for all you do in our community. It truly is remarkable what you guys do on a regular basis, and our community wouldn't be the same without you. So let's start with just an introduction. You can introduce yourself and then give us a quick overview of the organization you're a part of. Tina, you wanna start?
Thank you, thanks for having us. Yeah. I am Tina Huck. I am blessed to be the Executive Director of Family Promise of Forsyth County. We serve homeless families in our community, or families experiencing homelessness. We do that in a unique way. We partner with area congregations to provide a place for those families to stay. And then we partner with people, just like everyone here, who come in and make meals, who spend the night with our families, and most importantly, who provide just loving hospitality with those families, while we work with the parents to do things like get jobs, save money, and build the skills they need to create sustainable independence for their children.
That's great. That's awesome. Dr. Jeff Bearden?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Good morning, I'm Jeff Bearden. I'm the very proud superintendent of Forsyth County Schools. And by the way, that music was incredible.
It was incredible,
That was awesome.
wasn't it?
Yes, thank you. Our community is rapidly growing. We're one of the fastest growing communities, fastest growing school systems in the entire nation. We add about 1,500 to 1,800 kids every year. One of the statistics I share with our community often that we don't really think about, because we live in such an affluent community with a lot of resources, a lot of support. We have over 7,000 children in Forsyth County that live in poverty. Over 7,000. Think about that number for a second. Those kids have a lot of needs, a lot of resources. They require a lot of support, and it's partnerships like we have here at Brownsbridge that helps us as a school system meet those needs. So on behalf of Forsyth County Schools, I want to thank all of you for what you do every day to support our children. We could not do it without you.
That's incredible. That's great.
I'm Jacob. I'm the Director of Purposeful Engagement for the Place of Forsyth. And so what we do is help people who want to do more, businesses who want to do more, couple their resources and time to the needs in our area. And so what that looks like is meeting families and individuals in their moments of crises, oftentimes financial crises, helping them overcome that crisis, and then helping them avoid crises in the future. To do that, we offer a food pantry weekly, emergency financial assistance, youth outreach, senior outreach, and workforce development to help people become more employable, to grow beyond where they are, to eventually become self-sustaining.
So you use the word crises several times, and it always makes me think about several years ago when I moved to Brownsbridge and was involved with Be Rich. I was talking with some of our school social workers when we were in this season, and they were sharing some of the different things that they handle on a regular, I mean, just they say it's just normal day-to-day situations that they have to step into. And I was so surprised to hear of the things that were going on right down the street from us. I feel like many of us in the room, we go to our jobs, and then we've got the extracurricular activities for the kids, and we race to kids' sports and things, and kind of move from one thing to the next without knowing some of the needs and some of the challenges that are happening right down the street. So can y'all take a minute and just share some of the specific needs that you're seeing in our organization through what you're doing on a regular basis?
Yeah, so it's interesting, as a room full of believers in an affluent county, we forget that Jesus said the poor will always be among us. And it's true, and even here. And so at our office, the Family Promise and the schools, we have people coming in daily with different needs that they are presenting, from a lack of affordable housing, livable affordable housing, to food insecurities, to being unable to find work, even though there are many jobs out there, but just some internal barriers that they're facing. The gamut runs, and Tina can share more of that from her perspective as well.
Yeah, so in the school systems, as of this last week, there were almost 500 students who are identified as homeless in our county. When you drive around, you're not seeing that. What we see in our county is more of what we call a hidden homelessness, in that they might be doubled up with somebody, they might be what we call sofa surfing, so jumping from place to place. Maybe they're living in a car, maybe they're living in a motel, but in any case, the children are not stable. They don't know that tonight they're gonna go home and have a place to stay and a bed to put their head down on. On top of that, you have to realize over 35% of children who are homeless nationally are under the age of 5. So that 500 number is a little bit misleading because it's there. Then you top onto that, just like Jacob said, the affordable housing issue that isn't here, but also I would call out the affordable childcare. Imagine being a mom, and maybe a single mom or a single dad, and you're at a job making maybe $10 an hour, okay? And childcare at a minimum, at a place I don't know that I would take my child to, maybe about $175 a week. That leaves them maybe with take-home pay of about $700 a month for everything else, for rent, for food, for all their children's needs. And so that's a huge issue. And then let's top that with some of the mental health issues that go along with that. The stress, we already know there's mental health issues, we hear that all the time, but the stress of trying to provide for your children and do what you can for them, and the stigma that goes with that.
Yeah, just to follow up, she mentioned nearly 500 students in our school system that have been identified as homeless. Of those 500, 75 of them are completely on their own. Think about that for a second. It means either their parents have been incarcerated, or their parents are getting help for substance abuse issues in some home. And put yourself in the shoes of those children, every day not knowing if you're gonna have something to eat. You're not sure what you have for clothing, or if your clothing looks like the peers that you go to school with, where you're going to sleep at night. So talk about needs. I mean, the needs are very basic, things we take for granted. School supplies, clothing, shelter, food. We have those needs right here in Forsyth County.
Well, and the good news is it doesn't just end with the problem. You all are already doing some really incredible things to meet those needs. So can y'all talk a little bit about what your organization does to impact those that are in these situations?
Yeah, so it's really nice to talk about ending generational poverty and helping people come out of poverty, but we can all attest to the fact that that is a very, very difficult thing to do. And so one of the programs that we've started working on and that Brownsbridge supports through Be Rich is a youth mentoring program for these unaccompanied at-risk teenagers. And so we have learned that when we can start to address their needs at that age, they're much more receptive to making changes in their life to hopefully avoid and start to change that direction of poverty. And so that's one of the things that we do. We also offer some mental health counseling through different partnerships to help really get to the root of these issues.
You know, it's interesting, when I was invited to speak here this morning and I was thinking about our partnership and started to document all of the things that Brownsbridge does for Forsyth County Schools, and it's unbelievable. You know, just to mention a few, every year you guys provide about 800 backpacks to our students with resources for those kids. You hold food drives on a regular basis. You provide funding so we can provide training for our staff in the areas of social and emotional learning. You mentioned earlier students with mental health needs. Because of the funding you provide, we're able to get those children the resources and support they need, not only the children, but the family as well. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but probably one of the most impactful things that you guys do, there's about 200 mentors from Brownsbridge Church that work with our children, providing that champion that every kid needs, meeting with those kids on a regular basis. And what's really cool is to see a kid, maybe second or third grade, get partnered with a mentor and see that relationship continue all the way through high school. It's unbelievable the impact that makes. And the other thing I'll mention is thank you so much for your support of our REACH scholarship program. REACH stands for Realizing Educational Achievement Can Happen. And every year, we award 8 middle school students the possibility of earning a scholarship. We have a signing ceremony, and it's one of the most heartwarming events we hold every year, because the students and their parents, they sign a contract saying that throughout high school, the students are going to keep grades where they should be, behavior where it should be, and at the end of that, the students are given at a minimum a $5,000 a year scholarship. And what's interesting is many universities in our state either double or triple that. Wow. And so our first REACH scholars graduated from high school last spring, and they're in college now. Yeah, there's our 8 scholars from this year. Absolutely. Look at the young man with the bow tie, and he is very proud, and rightfully so. But yes, our first scholars graduated this spring, and we have a student who visited us recently who's attending the University of North Georgia. He's going to be incredibly successful, and he said, you know, 5 years ago when I signed that scholarship, I did not think about going to college, not because I didn't think I could do it, because my parents didn't have the resources to make that happen. And now I'm going to school, it doesn't cost me a dime. Yeah. You mentioned generational poverty. You know, that young man is going to graduate from college, he's going to get a job, he's going to be successful. His life trajectory has been changed forever, but not only that, his children, his grandchildren, generational poverty has probably been eradicated for that family, thanks to all of you.
Yeah. And the REACH, yeah. The REACH scholarship is one of the things that we fund through Be Rich giving every single year. And Jeff and I were talking backstage, and you told me that for most of these kids, I think almost all of them, they're the first people that will go to college in their family ever. So it's just an amazing opportunity and truly a life changer for them. So Tina, tell us a little bit about Family Promise and how y'all are meeting some of the needs.
So what's kind of unique about Family Promise is we're taking families' lives and truly surrounding them 24/7. And it's interesting to me, every time we have what we call a volunteer orientation, people will walk up and say, hey, what about this? What about that? And everything's important. And so, for instance, we had a woman walk up one time and say, hey, I'm a nutritionist. Can you use that at all? Wow, yeah, wouldn't teaching parents how to feed their children healthy meals be a great thing to do? And so we have this opportunity to kind of build the program around each family and help them grow, both financially, because we want them to save money to get on their feet, so there's no fees for the family. In fact, that childcare piece that I talked about, we're able to pay for their childcare while they're in the program with us, partially thanks to the funds through Be Rich last year. The other thing we're able to do is introduce those parents to mental health services, again, through the partnership with Brownsbridge. Some of our parents come in and imagine the stress that they're under, first of all, and then maybe even have had some lifelong issues with stress and anxiety, which have gotten them to this point. But the idea of going and talking to someone about that to kind of alleviate those underlying issues is scary. And so we've been able to plug that in a very non-invasive, comfortable level. But the other thing that I love about Family Promise and what really attracted me to it when I was first a volunteer was serving not just the families whose children's lives will be forever changed, but the children who are coming to serve and the children of our community who get to see on a real life basis that not everybody has what they have. We had a young girl whose mom called me a couple of years ago, and they happened to go here to Brownsbridge. Her name is Marley. And her mom called me and said, my daughter really wants her Christmas to go to people who are homeless. Help. What do I do? Wow. And so I talked with her, and we, as nonprofits in Forsyth County, do a really good job of working together. So our kids get their Christmas taken care of through the holiday house that the place has. But for me growing up, giving was just as important. Getting to watch people get excited about what I chose for them really built my dignity. And so I asked, would she be willing to come and talk to our kids and let them give presents to their parents? And so Miss Marley, that was all of 8 years old at that point in time, she and her mom came. They talked with the kids, they made some little gifts, but then she asked her family, instead of giving her gifts that year, to give her gift cards and money to go buy what these kids wanted. I will tell you, still to this day, one of those little girls is so proud to show the ring that she asked for her mom, because her mom had sold her wedding ring to be able to stay in their home a little bit longer before they came into the program. Marley then took it steps further. She continued to volunteer on a very regular basis. This is Marley up here. I'm so proud of her. I try not to cry when I talk about her. Yeah. Last year, she got her entire neighborhood involved, and they worked with us to provide some funds, but she also engaged them to come and get involved so that their skills and their talents and their time could be brought into our families as well.
That's incredible. I love the level of care you guys show for the individual. And Jacob, you've talked about this as well, that people that are in this situation, they need dignity restored to them in a lot of ways. And one of the things, Tina, you shared was the first on, last off with the school bus. Can you explain that to everybody here?
Yeah, so children who become homeless throughout the school year have some rights that have been protected by but our schools in particular do a really great job. It's important that children stay in their school of origin. Otherwise, their educational progression is delayed by about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's important they stay there. But what happens is when a child enters our program, the school literally reroutes buses so that they're picked up at our day center, but they're picked up before anybody else gets on that bus. And at the end of the day, they're dropped off after everybody. And that may sound simplistic, but imagine being a child and everybody around you knowing, hey, they're getting dropped off at that place for the homeless people. That doesn't happen. They're just getting off just like anybody else. Their stop just happens to be a little bit later, but it's that dignity of that child, because no matter what we're doing, I think ultimately we all want to have these children grow up in a world very different than what their parents are facing right now.
Which again, just the level of detail that each of these organizations has thought through to care for the individual and help build them back up and help them become self-sustaining is just incredible. So Jacob, can you share more of that, of maybe a specific story or something along those lines that's come out of the place?
Yeah, so we try to our commitment to the community is to be a place where every person, dollar, and hour has a purpose. And we try to instill that in all of our services. Our food pantry that many of you have volunteered in is a client choice pantry. So families are able to choose the food that they want, and there's dignity into that process. And in our youth mentoring program, we try to instill that sense of purpose in our teens that come to us. We have one lady in particular, a young lady named Mackenzie, who grew up in an abusive household. Her father was physically abusive to her mother to the point where mom had some pretty severe brain damage. Mom then developed an addiction on pain pills, remarried, and he was not very helpful to the situation, to say the least. And so you have this girl who is very bright, and beautiful and full of potential, but lacking in some self-confidence and awareness of her purpose and what she can do. And so she was referred to us through the schools. The homeless liaison brought her to us, and she got involved in our mentoring programs, our internship program, where students are able to work with us 20 hours a week, earn some money, but more importantly, are loved and encouraged and embraced. and reminded that they have a purpose and that they are important. Mackenzie has since graduated high school. She is at Lanier Tech, where she is studying to become a physical therapy assistant. But because of the volunteers at the place, the staff at the place, she was able to find the grants and scholarships she needed to do that. So she's doing this all with no cost to herself. She still works with us, so she's still in a healthy, stable environment, earning some money and going to school. And that's what you all provide for us. We're talking about serve today, and maybe some of you don't want to work in the food pantry or hang clothes in our thrift store or do some of the things that require your hands getting dirty, and that's fine. But you have expertise and knowledge and wisdom that we desperately need. I'm sure I speak for Tina and all the other nonprofits in town when I say that we need your knowledge. Give us some of your time to share what you know, what you're passionate about, and we can turn that around and put it into direct services. We can't do what we do without you. It takes a village to raise a child, and I like to say it takes a county to support a county. And these kids that we're talking about primarily desperately need your involvement, your care and compassion.
You were sharing last week that you named some of the specific things that if someone has expertise in, like if they're finance, if that's their background, or strategy. You talked about business strategy. If they're maybe helping their company go do really well, but yet they don't want to, like you said, unpack the thrift store clothes that get delivered, which we have done as a staff before, and it was quite interesting, some of the things that people choose to donate. It's like, wow, you gave that to someone thinking they could use it. So
yes. We try to be a place where everything has a purpose, but that's within reason.
Yeah, some things there is no purpose to this. It's like that needs to go away. But any other specific things that you would say to that? Go ahead.
Well, I think I know for Family Promise, I'm going to speak for a lot, that I think every interest and skill level, every talent is needed. But I also want to say every amount of time. This is not necessarily committing my entire life, right? You might come for an hour one time and help somebody write a resume or interview somebody, or literally just sit down and listen, or sit down and have a meal. In our case, you can come sleep. You can even serve while you sleep for us. So it's a whole other thing. It's a lot of fun.
Got a lot of the high school students that would probably like that. Like, I'm going to serve while I sleep.
That's a lot of guys. But here's what it ultimately means. I, last year, had an opportunity to sit down with kids from our program without their parents there. And I said to them, what is different about life in Family Promise versus outside of Family Promise? Because Family Promise is tough. We hold people accountable and they got to work. And the first child, which was a 14-year-old girl, said having a bed to sleep in.
Wow.
The next little boy, who was 8, and his 6-year-old brother nodded his head in agreement, was knowing that we're going to have dinner every night. And the final one, very wise 12-year-old, said, the love and hospitality that the volunteers show us. Just being able to wrap your arms around somebody, not necessarily physically, it can be literally, but even figuratively, knowing that they are loved and cared about is a huge gift that you can give to somebody.
Yeah.
What a great point. I say all the time, we're a people business. We're a relationship business. And to your point, every child needs and deserves a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging. While it's true, we need your financial support. I'm not going to lie to you about that. The funding is critically important. But to both of your points, that relationship piece is equally important. It's amazing. I talked about mentoring earlier, how 30 minutes once a week with a mentor can just change a child's life forever. Oftentimes our mentors come to us and they're a little nervous, they're not sure what to do. We will provide the training, but oftentimes it's just someone to listen, someone to establish a positive relationship with that child. And it's amazing how 30 minutes a week, how much that relationship can grow over the years and the tremendous impact it has on our kids.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we've got just about a minute left. Is there anything else while you're with us today that you would like to share with the folks here at Brownsbridge?
I just want to say thank you all so much. We really could not do what we do without you. And I would like to also say that what we've discussed here today just really touches the tip of the iceberg for the needs in our county. I was talking with Dr. Bearden over some really good biscuits and gravy in the back. That as I was getting ready for this last night, and just thinking of some notes and going over stuff, I realized that my dog, asleep in my wife's closet, is having a better sleep than a lot of kids in our county today. And so when you go home and you have your pets and you feed Fufu or Fido or Rover, think of these kids who are in our county who don't have the luxury of that warm bed, of that last midnight snack before bedtime, because the need is great and the need is there, and we need all of your support to make it, to serve it.
That's good.
I guess my final thoughts are that the best schools and the best school systems are the ones where home, school, community work together as partners. I think we do that better than probably any school system in our state, but we need to continue to do that and make sure that's our focus every single day. So thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll mimic that, or can go on with that thank you, but what I want you to know is whether you can give an hour a day, an hour a month, an hour once a year, you truly can change lives, and in particular, change the lives of children of our county, just simply by that little bit that you give. So thank you for allowing us to be here and share the stories of these kiddos with you, and for opening your hearts to do just that, to change their lives.
That's great. Brownsbridge family, can we thank them so much for what they do? Thank you. For you. Check that out. We are so grateful. We're going to let them head out so they can make their way to the theater where all the other organizations are being represented, and we'll get to see y'all in just a few minutes. So here's the ask. Here's the request with Be Rich Week 2. We want everyone to serve 1 hour. And our team has done a great job working with these nonprofits and with the school system to come up with 120 different projects. We have every kind of project imaginable. There is something for everyone. If you want to serve by yourself, if you want to serve with your friends, if you want to serve with your family, if you want to serve with your small group, there is something for everyone. And you can go to berich.org to see all of these and to sign up for these opportunities, or you can just text this number. We're going to put it up on the screen right now. If you text this number, you'll get a link that'll take you directly to the service opportunities that you can sign up for. Or today, again, this is the first time we've ever done this. We've got our actual partners over in the theater, and you can go meet them and talk to them and sign up for an opportunity there at one of the tables in the theater. And also there's the swag pop-up shop there as well. So if you want to get a sweatshirt or something along those lines, that's available too. So, but again, same thing as week 1. We want 100% participation. Everybody serve 1 hour, and they just shared it so well that when you step up, you make a tremendous, tremendous impact on the people in our community who really need that impact. And it has a tremendous impact on you as well. So let me pray for us, and then we're going to be dismissed, and we'll be able to go head to the theater. Father, thank you so much for today, and thank you for Tina and for Jacob and for Dr. Bearden. And thank you for the number of other organizations that are represented in this community that weren't on stage today. God, for the tireless work that they put in every single week to help the people in our community who are struggling. And I pray for all of us in here, God, would you keep us aware and awakened to the needs that are right around us. God, will we feel the weight of that? But not just feel the weight, God, would you help us respond appropriately? God, would you help us see the opportunity in front of us and step in to meet that need? Thank you, God, that for most of us in the room, we don't have to worry about going without, that you've provided so much for us. Let us turn and offer that extra to others. And we pray it all in Jesus' name, amen.